Everybody, welcome back. We'll now start with our first session of the tracks. So before we move on, I request everybody to log on to the poll, theslido.com, and provide your feedback for the current session. I now welcome Ms. Divya Vaishnavi over the stage. Hello everyone. A brief introduction about Ms. Divya. She is a senior program manager at Microsoft, who is our title partner, title sponsor as well. So Ms. Divya works as a senior programmer for Azure DevOps at Microsoft. She has 15 plus years of experience in the IT industry and drive the testing tools, product set in Azure DevOps. She loves doing data analysis and also lead the outreach team in India for DevOps. Welcome, Ms. Divya. Her topic would be 7 habits of effective DevOps.
Can you folks hear me? I don't think so. It's not working. Can you folks hear me? Not yet, right? We'll get that. So how's it going so far? Enjoying? I see very similar faces, so thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. Okay, let me try that again. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Divya. I work in Microsoft and work on a product called Azure DevOps, which helps you do your complete application lifecycle management, your complete DevOps requirements. So what I wanted to do today is share with you folks some of the learnings we've had. Gopi covered some of it in the keynote session, and I'll do a deep dive. And the way I want to plan the next 30 minutes for all of you is do a bit of the key habits or our learnings, share those with you, share some of the pitfalls as well of, again, the mistakes that we've made so that you don't make them again, and also do a hands-on demo, a few things of how we in Microsoft or in my team, how does our day look like. So I'll just share some of those as well. Hope you find it interesting. Let's make it interactive. Ask me questions, and the best 2 questions will get a gift. Okay, so let's get started. Today, every company is becoming a software company. How you come to work or travel anywhere, what do you eat, what you watch, everything is today software. Which means all of these need to deliver much more and at a very, very fast cadence. Which means again that all of this needs DevOps. So DevOps, the way we define it in Microsoft, is a union of people, the most important part, people, processes, and products. Products, whatever best of the world you like for your industry, for your needs, choose that, but wrap it around with processes, but the most important piece is the people. So all of that together to help deliver faster value to customers. Now, DORA says, and they have these categorization of elite, high, medium, and low performers, and DORA says that elite performing teams have 106 times faster lead time to deploy, so that if there is a new feature that's coming in or there is a failure, it reaches their customers 106 times faster and have a much, much higher rate of resolving from incidents. So the time to recovery is much, much higher. Now the good news is when we compare the 2018 DORA report with the 2019 DORA report, the elite performers are increasing, which again, like it's a trend which says DevOps is taking off, DevOps is helping, and it's working and moving teams from medium high performers to elite performers. Azure and Azure DevOps is we have a compressive set of tools to help you in your DevOps. Here it gives a big list of all the products that we have in this space. Yesterday, some of you were there in the workshop and we spoke a lot detailed about the Azure pipelines. But again, for all your needs for DevOps, we have a product suite. Now, like I said, the team that I am in is developer division, and our key mission is to create products and tools to help you collaborate productively, ship faster, and learn continuously. And that is the same philosophy that we use internally as well. Microsoft, like Azure DevOps, is built using Azure DevOps. Lots of team in Microsoft use Azure DevOps, and that's the key part that I want to do today is share with you our learnings. So let's start with the first one. Any product exists because there is a need, a problem that you are wanting to solve. And it's similarly for our products as well. And when I look at my own product, we look at a bunch of channels where the inputs come from. So listen to our customers and understand those needs, connect with them, survey, talk to them, the quantitative as well as the qualitative feedback. So we look at various channels to get those inputs and define what gets, or decide at least what gets in the backlog. Once we do that and know what gets in the backlog is when the next part comes of backlog groomed with learning. So we've defined the hypothesis. So we follow the build, measure, learn. We define the hypothesis. I do this, which will give or help my customer with this, and will move the needle by this. Like we define hypotheses for each one of them. We run experiments then to say, to validate this hypothesis, this is the changes that I need to bring in the product. This is how I'll measure it and get my data from the learnings and then decide whether the hypothesis is validated or invalidated. And I'll show you some examples live in the product right now that we are doing those for. The next one is, once I decide, so let's just take an example and I'll use that later on as well, is how many of you use Teams and Slack here? Wow, that's an awesome number. Okay, only Teams. How many Teams? That's a great number as well. So you as a developer or a product lead or a product manager is sitting in an environment, and then you're connecting with your team or your fellows everywhere else in, say, Team or Slack. What we are doing is bringing those two together. And we are building a feature. Some of it is already out and some is in works, is to solve that problem that you don't have to leave the space where you are in right now, say your Teams or Slack channel, to take some actions in your DevOps product. So when we are doing, say, something like this, so I decided that that's the problem, that my customers have to change context, and for simple actions or just to find out what's happening, have to go back in another product. And I'll not say specifically say Azure DevOps, but say any other product outside of where they are interacting with their team. So why not solve that problem? So we decided we need to do something, bring some integration, say, in Teams, and then we put a goal to say how we'll measure it, how will we learn from it, and how we'll improve it. Now, once, say, you've decided and you decide what to do, how to fix that problem, the next thing that we do is also feature flagging, is to make sure that when I am experimenting, I'm not expanding to the whole user base. We first do it internally with our own customers, so we dog food it ourselves, then our initial set, and then the initial set. So we follow a mechanism of feature flagging to help deliver the values to a smaller set of customers, as well as to reduce the merge death. So if you remember, Gopi talked about that whole master and 500 to 800 of us working on the same master and making sure the PRs are of really small size. Now how do so a feature like that would be few weeks, few engineers. How would I still ensure that I can check in my code because it's not work done yet, isn't it? So what we do is we put in feature flags so that it's behind a feature flag and it's still getting checked in master, so your integration debt or your merge conflicts are not increasing. But only when you're ready is when I can deliver it to first this set and then that set and then this set and then open it out to the world if my experiment is still validating or my hypothesis is still validating. So we use something like that for feature flags. So all code is deployed, but there is a exposure radius based on feature flags. So initially, see, if I assume that the black line is the line of code or whatever, the path of code, then the new code gets added, but all my customers still follow the older line of or the path of code. Only when the feature flag is switched on is when they start seeing the newer path of code. So they start seeing the newer features or the newer functionality or a bug fix or all of that. So any major changes that we do all of that behind feature flags. So flags, they help us control the runtime and do it at an individual, account, region, blah, blah, many mechanisms. And it helps us with our progressive experimentation as well that I said. Now, once say I deployed it and I exposed it to all of you in this room, the next thing that we do is gather data to understand how is it doing. Are people really using it? Are they able to find it? Is it really helping solve the problem that we had started to solve? And for that, again, this Gopi touched base on. Thank you. So it is not done even for an engineer or a product manager before it actually is live in production and I can listen to telemetry. I can hear what people are doing from usage, from errors, from performance. So there are multiple aspects that we look at and gather data for that. So we, another example here, I'm using of one of the features that I had done, and the amount of data we look at to understand how it is doing and can I take it forward, should I roll it back, is it making sense, solving my problems or not. Now, so we collect a lot of data. Like I said, we do user telemetry, customer telemetry, performance telemetry, bugs, issues, all of that as well. But we measure what's important. So you see a snapshot of my engineering scorecard that we use in our teams. You see a snapshot of scenario matrix, business matrix, commerce matrix, and a bunch of those. So we measure usage. I talked about this. We measure velocity. When it comes to team, we measure time to build, to test, to deploy, to learn. The learn part is really important. Am I doing smaller pieces so that I can deliver it to my customer, learn from them, and then make incremental changes instead of bringing the big bang feature first on and learn from that, because then it helps give us that learning culture as well. Life site health, when it comes to it, we measure things like time to mitigate, communicate, SLA, even in cases, and if you remember initially we talked about hearing various customer channels, we actually have a customer support SLA as well. And we as a product, so we have a CSS team who takes care of that, but we as a product team take care of that as well. So if you're responding to us on Slack, on any of those channels, there's an SLA we try to adhere to. What we don't measure, and that's I think also pretty important, is we don't measure lines of code. We don't measure velocity. We don't measure bugs found. So this is a little different than maybe some enterprises do, but what we found is those don't allow for the right principles or the right culture to happen, and culture is the core of all of your DevOps. Any questions here before I move on? This is an important one. Go ahead, please. We are using, in terms of the UI, we use Power BI or we integrate in our own product, and I'll show you a demo of that. And we use Azure data, so Custo for all of that. Okay, so we came and we decided what to do. We created a hypothesis, we gave it to a bunch of customers, we learned from it, now it's live. So the next learning is the production first mindset. And Gopi talked a bunch here, but what I'll add here is, like we used feature flag to do it for a specific feature, how do I do progressive disclosure? We follow that for each of our deployment as well. So we have a ring, progressive ring mechanism, and we have ring 1, which is for like us and our Canary users. We have ring 2 as our smaller set, and then a bigger set, and then a bigger set, and 5 is worldwide. So every deployment that we do, even the feature flag 1 as well, follows this mechanism. And I'll show you that in action as well in like some time. The live site culture, live site and ensuring it is delivered and deployed to the customer is more important than adding new features. Because what is delivered and what is available to you right now is the reason you will maybe continue to use the product as well. So we put a lot of emphasis on live site, and we have some processes is where I'll put this here, defined to help build that live site culture, whether it's the live site weekly reviews, whether it is the DRI model that we have, whether it is the monthly service reviews. So all of those, and again I would say the processes, I'll bucket it in that process category, which has helped us build DevOps or adopt DevOps and learn that culture and follow that. In our team, for product PMs as well, we have put a DRI model. Because then, like I said, we have the customer support load, and the PMs take care of the support load, so we have a DRI model for our PMs as well. This is known, so I'll not go. Automate everything. Without automation, obviously the whole DevOps or deployment and continuous deployment is very, very difficult. Your own aim won't be perfect, so if you don't control how you're doing your progressive disclosure, it becomes really difficult to resolve, or your MTTR will really get a hit if this is not done right. This one, again, I think Gopi touched upon this, is the team autonomy. And what we found, we had this separate dev, test, ops team. It was a difficult transition 3 years back where we had to merge the teams. The dev said, we cannot do tests, like it was as if it's some lowly task, and test people said that we are not upgraded enough to be starting to write dev code or a feature code. So it took a lot of self-learning, the growth mindset I would say, to bring these teams together and make it really one engineering where dev and test, so if I'm the developer, I own it end to end. If I'm the feature crew, I own that service end to end in terms of what is getting delivered, how is it getting delivered, what's the quality of that software, every bit of it. So we moved from a team structure like this to a team structure of combined engineering and combined ops to a feature team. And this is how, in true, like if you go to our offices, this is how we are seated as well. So we have a team room where 12 to 15 of us, engineers, PMs, designers, I've missed the designer part here, but designers, SD or the ops team, we're all seated together and we own a feature end to end. This is again, and DevOps is iterative, right? So just 3 quarters back is actually when we started on this journey of OKRs. And we realized that it's important to not just have goals, but have it in this measurable fashion. And we adopted this philosophy of OKRs, where you define at a high objective level where you want to be, and then what KRs will take you there. Managing technical debt. Again, this one is touched upon, but it's super important that if you don't have tests test automation in your pipeline is not the key focus, but is really, really important. And Topo mentioned it as well, that it's one of the key blockers for, or the key challenges in the whole DevOps cycle, and it's really important to solve this. We've spent bunch of engineering effort, and we do that today as well, to make sure that we follow these principles. We can test, and again, when there is a life site issue, the first thing is, does it have test coverage? And if it doesn't have, obviously, let's go fix it. If it has, what do we do better so that we can ensure similar issue doesn't come back again? And we test at each level in the pipeline. So before any PR gets checked in, there are a bunch of tests which get run. Only if they are successful, it goes in master. Then we run a bunch of continuous integration tests in our pipeline. So a bunch of L0s, and when I say L1s, it's a unit test with DB or file server or whatever, your IO operations, to make sure that's working. The L2s are REST APIs, and our L3s are the end-to-end. And we test in production as well. I'm running a little fast because I want to show you the demo of all of that in the product too. So green means green, and only if the tests have run, and what you see here on the column is a bunch of our environments where we do various different types of tests. The TFS ones, which are like the on-prem ones, or self-test or code dev. So few of those flavors of test which we run, and every CI build goes through that test. Only if a pipeline or the column is completely green is when it goes to the release. Managing infrastructure as a flexible resource, I think what cloud gives us is that capability of scale on demand. It's also, like Dora quotes it as one of the key 5 things which help you adopt DevOps and move from a lower performing team to a high and elite performing team, because it helps you, like your recovery is faster, your experimentation, your learning, like each of that becomes really faster when it comes to you, if you are on cloud. So we do that as well. Now all of this journey is every step. The key one that I wanted to iterate is, we've had those learnings, but we've not stopped. We iterate it over and over again. We find the part of the process which is not working for us, look at it of how I can solve it, make it better, and then continue doing that. Put it back. Sometimes it goes as a process change that we need to do. Sometimes it goes back as a feature that we added back in our backlog, but we keep doing that. And I have multiple examples there. One of the key example, and it's very fresh because we've just done it, and I wanted to share with you, is our PR. So we used to run, and we used to be super proud of it, that we run 88,000 tests in our PR. We've done talks about it, and it used to take only 7 minutes. Like, people used to come back and ask, how do you run so many tests in 7 minutes? But what we realized was, 7 minutes, 500 developers, and we have like 800 PRs, sometimes 800, 600 PR builds happening a day. Each developer is spending 7 minutes, even knowing whether his PR will go in or not. And that's productivity loss, isn't it? So we did effort, actually brought not like the process change, rather I would say a product change, and did work to understand test impact analysis. So if I'm making a change in code, say only in, say, identity service, then maybe the test across the board, all 88,000, don't need to run. And will that help reduce the time a PR takes? Will it help reduce the number of tests that run? And we did that. So this is a screenshot from, can I find a date here? Okay, I can't. Just a few months back, where we were running 88,000 tests, and it was taking only 7 minutes. Now, we've changed it, and based on what part of the code the PR is addressing, or the area of the circumference of the impact of that code changes. This one is again from my live PR last night. There are just 27,000 tests run, and it takes only 3 minutes. So, and there are multiple examples, like I said. This is one of them which we've recently done to help improve. We're doing steps to increase and improve our lead time. So first step was to even understand today what is our lead time. High level philosophically, we understood it was because we deploy every 3 sprints. 10 more minutes, right? Already? Okay. Okay. I'll take 2 more minutes and then cover. I just wanted to show a few things in the product, and then 2 minutes is fine? Okay. So I talked about the feature or whatever, the experiment that we were doing, right, of bringing teams in, Teams integration. So like I said, what we found is the issue is that you have context change. So we brought something as Azure Pipelines and Integration in Teams, and it's available in Slack too, which brings the actions directly where you are. So if I am the engineering lead and I need to just approve a release or approve a PR, I get those notifications now directly in my Teams channel so that I don't have to go outside the context. This is still in preview. So it just reached few of our customers. We are validating, we are understanding the feedback, getting inputs, and then going about it. I just still see it's 5 minutes left there. Okay. So I wanted, like I said, give a glimpse of our day-to-day as well, how we use Azure DevOps to build Azure DevOps. This is, oops. This is a view of our dashboard, live dashboard of what's happening, which PR, what builds. I'll jump a little. So these are the pipelines. So Azure DevOps, and like I said, this is one pipeline where each one of us commit our code to, and we go through, like this has multiple tests run. If it's a CI pipeline, then our L1s and L2s run, and based on if that's successful, it goes to the next stages. I'll show you an example where, like this PR had a test failure, which then has details of how the developer can go back, fix this failure, recheck in, create the PR, and that would take them, take their PR in, and obviously take it all the way to production. The last one on progressive disclosure I talked about. This is our release pipeline where I said all our deployments go through this release pipeline. That's our key core microservice. We have few more microservices as well. But so if I show you this specific microservice, what you will see is exactly what I'd shown, ring 1, ring 2, and after every state, in some cases, we actually also have delays of a day. So my ring 1 got deployed, even if like we want to wait here for signals, and only when those signals are good, we move on to the next state. In some cases, we actually even listen to the telemetry, so there's mechanism in the product to help you listen to the telemetry and take actions, or listen to Twitter sentiment and take actions, and then move on to the next stages as well. So that was the key of all that I had to share. Reach out to me on my Twitter handle, Divya Vaishnavi, or Azure DevOps if you have any questions. Can we take a question or two now, or we're already too late?
We are actually late, so
okay.
I request everybody to take the questions offline.
So I'll be in the booth the full day today. If you have any questions for me, if you I wanted to jump in a few more things, and I was distracted because this told me a different time. So if there are anything, just come by and we'll deep dive. Thank you so much.
May I request Mr. Mahesh to come and felicitate the speaker? Yeah. Please.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Divya.